I'm most excited about the Niners because I played with their defensive coordinator, D'Amico Ryans.
Right.
I played with their starting safety, Tayshaun Gibson, and their starting defensive lineman, Charles Omeni, who's like my little brother. So I was like, why am I so infatuated with these Niners? It's for those reasons, but I got to talk about the pressure.
Family.
Brock Purdy is under an immense amount of pressure this game. Shady, when you are known to be the weak link of a team, I think there's no more pressure than that. Brock Purdy looks to his left, he sees Trent Williams.
Right.
He looks outside, he sees Deebo Samuel. He looks behind him, he sees Christian McCaffrey. He looks outside even further, he sees Brandon Ayuk. He looks closer to him, he sees George Kittle. But then he looks within himself and he's like, wait a second, I am a 7th-round pick. Although I have been balling to this point, do I still have enough juice to keep it going? So for that reason, I think Brock Purdy is under so much pressure in this game that everybody will be watching. But Dave Helman, you cover the Cowboys. I say it all the time. You cover Dak Prescott. You know the pressure he's been under. He was drafted in the 4th round behind Tony Romo, one of the most beloved Cowboys in the history of the football franchise. Dak Prescott inherited one of the most talented teams in Cowboys history,
True.
Modern history. He's been in a very similar situation to Brock Purdy. Who's under more pressure in this game, Prescott or Purdy?
Yeah, but Dak has been in this situation, and that's why I know the answer is Dak. Because when you're a rookie, you don't know what you don't know. Like, I hate to keep pounding that drum of Mr. Irrelevant. Honestly, maybe we could retire that. It seems kind of
very
mean.
relevant.
He might have killed that.
He's very relevant.
But he was Mr. Irrelevant. We're talking about year 7 of Dak's career versus game number 8 of Brock Purdy's career. Brock Purdy was never supposed to be in this situation. I get it. There's a lot on the line. But what happens to Brock Purdy if he loses this game? We're certainly not talking about his legacy. We're certainly not talking about whether or not he can get over the hump. We're saying, well, you're the Niners' 3rd-string quarterback, and that it's not surprising that you're run-ended here. Whereas Dak Prescott, I mean, we did all of this last week. If he loses this game, he will be 0-3 in trips to the divisional round. That is not something you want to associate
Dave,
yourself with.
let me ask you this. There's a certain pressure that comes with being here, even though you were never supposed to. I don't know about y'all, but when the lottery gets up to $1 billion, your boy starts buying tickets. Now, you're not supposed to win the lottery. You're not at all supposed to win the lottery. But, Shady, if you see out of those 5 numbers, those first 4 are on point, you're not supposed to be here. Yeah. But now that you're here, it's a lot of pressure on that 5th number to hit. Brock Purdy might not be supposed to be here, Joy, but now that he's here, now that the Niners are here, 2 games away from the Super Bowl, I'm thinking to myself, there is a lot of pressure on this young stud, but Dak has some too. Where do you stand?
I think there is pressure on Brock Purdy, but it's not the pressure that Dak Prescott has going into this weekend. It's just, I don't like to say the word fair, so I'm not going to say the word fair. But there is a built-in excuse, a legitimate reason that we will have if Brock Purdy struggles in this game.
Yeah, true.
And it's not going to be Brock Purdy's fault, even if it is Brock Purdy's fault. People will feel like, okay, he had an amazing run. We got a little excited. It's fine. He did well, and good for him. It'll be like good for him.
Yeah.
It'll be
pat on the back.
Yeah. Well done, young man. It'll be disappointing because their roster is incredible and they have so much talent and they have their coach and everything's in place. But really, San Francisco's not supposed to be here when we consider the importance of the position that Brock Purdy is playing. We've seen other teams be on their 3rd-string quarterback and it didn't go quite as well.
Right.
So that's a testament to how well Brock Purdy is playing and what San Francisco has done. But Dak Prescott is the one who is under pressure here. Everything Dave just said, everything that's gone on this season, the ups, the downs, the criticism, the praise, the fake interceptions.
The real interceptions.
And the real interceptions.
There you go, Dave.
And really, when we go all the way back to the beginning of this season, which feels like 7 years ago, Mike McCarthy is on the hot seat before the season even starts. We're revisiting how their season ended last year. And there's questions about if Dak Prescott is legitimately the one that can get them to the promised land. Well, this is the moment. You have everything you need. You could want more things, but they're mostly healthy. Dak's played well since he's come back from his injury. They've had an incredible season, so the pressure is on Dak Prescott.
Shady, I've heard from the brilliant perspective of people that have covered the sport for a long time. You played the sport for a long time. Let me try to paint this picture for you. My sophomore year, I'm at the University of Texas. We go to the national championship playing Alabama, Trent Richardson, Julio Jones, Mark Ingram, amongst others. I'm a true sophomore. I'm starting. Let me put you in my shoes. In front of me is my brother, 4th-round pick. Lamar Houston, 2nd-round pick. Sergio Kendall, 2nd-round pick. On the outside, Aaron Williams, 2nd-round pick. Other outside is is Chalky Brown, 5th-round pick. Nickelback, Curtis Brown, 3rd-round pick.
Yeah, players in Texas.
Behind me is Earl Thomas, future Hall of Famer,
Okay,
1st-round pick. To my right, Roger McElroy, starting linebacker, 4th-round pick. To my left, Keenan Robinson, starting linebacker, 4th-round pick.
He relives
Then
this
there's
game
me.
a lot.
Then there's me. And the reason I bring this up is I'm sitting here having a whole bunch of pressure because I'm like, if somebody's going to let the team down, it's not going to be Earl Thomas. Somebody's going to let the team down. It's not going to be the 2 first-round picks up front or my brother, 4th-round pick. If somebody's going to let the team down, it might be me. Yeah. In 2009, I believe you were a rookie for the Philadelphia Eagles. Y'all are in the playoffs. Donovan McNabb's your quarterback. Brian Westbrook starting out there as well. Jeremiah Trotter's out there.
I started that game.
You started bet. So you get it.
Yeah.
In your mind, is there not some sort of thought process that Purdy might be having as far as like, there's pressure because if somebody's going to let the team down, it might be me. Break that down from a player perspective, and then give me that answer.
I think for Purdy, like, his team has done a great job of being the guys to get the job done for him, right? When you're a rookie, you just, like you said, you don't want to mess up. When I was a rookie, my only job wasn't just get yards and get touchdowns. I wasn't even thinking about that, to be honest. I can't mess up. I can't let my guys down. When you have an older group like the Niners have, they have other stars around you, they make the game so much easier for you. You don't have to make that great pass, Purdy, or I'm still going to catch it, right? You don't have to make that great block for the quarterback. No, I'm going to make the block for you. Yep. So they're making everything, and they're simplifying it for him, even like running the ball. The first drive, 60, 70-yarder? Yep. As a rookie, he's like, thank God. Instead of I have to make that 70-yard pass, he is. Or the running back, McCaffrey did. So I would say definitely the real pressure is on Dak. Okay. I can't wait to answer that question. Since you asked him, can I jump into that?
Go ahead, please.
So I think it really is Dak. First of all, this is the first playoffs. He's never turned the ball over yet. Did you know that?
I didn't.
That's his thing, the turnover. He hasn't turned it over. You can't have a great performance like that against the Bucs on the road and not have pressure this game. The same team that beat you last year, you play them again. It's revenge. That beat us, okay, bet. We're going to beat y'all in your house. Okay? And then if he loses this game, what are they, 2-4 in the playoffs?
Yeah, if he loses 2-5.
All these things matter. So I surely think that the real pressure is on Dak Prescott for them reasons.
Common sense says that they both need to win this game, Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy. But let's dive into the nuance. Who needs to win the game more when you think big picture long term? Joy, you and I talked about it off camera before the show. In my mind, Brock Purdy is playing for his future as a starter in the National Football League. Yeah. Remember, the 49ers spent 3 picks on Trey Lance, quarterback they acquired 2 years ago. But Brock Purdy, if he can take this team to an NFC Championship game, if his record through the duration of the season can wind up being 8-0, 9-0, or worst case, maybe 8-1, then you cannot put Brock Purdy on the bench. All of a sudden, he goes from Mr. Irrelevant. For those that don't know, Mr. Irrelevant is the label that you are given if you are the last pick in the NFL draft. He goes from Mr. Irrelevant to suddenly being a starter. I think he actually needs to win this game more than Dak Prescott. Joy, where do you stand?
It is an interesting thought. I thought about it this morning as when we were discussing it, that I guess we haven't allowed ourselves to get into that conversation.
I'm all playoffs right now, but it's true.
We're still in the playoff mode. But, yeah, this game does have a lot of implications for the Niners and for Brock Purdy. Life comes at you fast. Woo! He's 7th-round rookie pick, and now we're talking about if you should be the starter next year and you're playing. And I mean, that's how it is. And good for him because he stepped up to it.
He was ready.
Yeah, that's dope.
It's incredible that he's in this situation. He's won either way. But he could make things very complicated for the Niners after this game, depending on how it goes for them. If he wins, what do you do with Trey Lance? You spent 3 first-round picks on him.
3 of them.
Expensive. But you can't not play Brock Purdy at the beginning of the season next year. If he goes to the NFC Championship game, that'd be crazy. Now, San Francisco has done things like that before with Jimmy Garoppolo, so it wouldn't be unheard of for this organization. But, yeah, for job security purposes for next year, I would say that there's more pressure on Brock Purdy. But he's playing with house money at this point.
Yeah, very true.
Don't you think, though, like, regardless of what happens in this game or the next game, whenever the Niners season ends, Brock Purdy has earned the right to be part of whatever the Niners do moving forward. You know, like he'd probably go into next year as the backup at the worst, or maybe he gets a chance to compete. Even if they lose this game, I think he could potentially have a chance to compete. And then on top of that, it's a long season. Like, and Brock Purdy's under contract for 3 more years after this. Like, he will have opportunities after this. I think he's played well enough. Whereas, again, we talk about this all the time. The reason it's so important to win early, win young, is because that's when a quarterback is cheap. Dak's cap hit only goes up. as hard as it already is for the Cowboys to put a good roster around him, it gets harder. CeeDee Lamb can start negotiating for a contract as soon as the Cowboys season is over. Trayvon Diggs can as well. You've got to think about things like a player like Tyron Smith retiring. Tony Pollard needs a new contract. You probably got to figure out what you want to do with Zeke Elliott. It gets harder and harder to keep a good team together.
But if you're Dak, this would be the one game, Shady, that Dak is finally allowed to win. When he lost to the Packers 2016 playoffs, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it was the Packers, it's Aaron Rodgers.
Sure.
Like, we're not going to be mad at you for necessarily losing that game, but we kind of were because the Cowboys were the 1 seed, if I'm not mistaken. So even then, not really allowed to win. When they lost to the Rams, the Cowboys were a good team that year. Now, we didn't know the Rams were going to go to the Super Bowl, but like Cowboys were a good team that year. Last year, you should not have lost to the Niners at your house. But this game, if you lose to the Niners, like, we're not going to be mad at Dak, are we? Like, how can we be?
A, I think it depends on how he plays. And B, yes, you can be mad because, again, the Cowboys are now at a point where every year that goes by where you don't get to the NFC Championship game, it's just another year. I think this will make it 28. You realize, again, this will be the 3rd time Dak has played. Nobody has gotten over this hump. The divisional round might as well be a brick wall. The last guy to do it for the Cowboys' name was Troy. He won a few rings. Nobody else has been able to.
This is the 3rd time this week you did that. Why you keep giving this guy a pass? Dak Prescott. Hold him to the same standard as every other quarterback. Why do you do that?
If the Niners are as good as their stats say they are defensively.
Acho thinks the Niners are going into Canton as a team.
To be honest, out of all the teams, other than my guys in the green, other than them that first seed team with the all-pro quarterback. Anyway, other than them, I think the best team built-wise to go against the Niners is the Cowboys. Let's talk about it.
Please.
And for me to say that,
let's go, Shady. Yeah.
Listen, on defense, they're fast group. They run to the ball, right? They can stop the run. They can get to the quarterback. You got Bosa with the Niners. You got Micah with the Cowboys. Trayvon Diggs in the back holding it down corner. I mean, collectively, they do well, I think, secondary with the Niners.
But don't you think Dak is overmatched? That's where I'm at. Like,
no. CeeDee Lamb, yo, listen. In the beginning of the year, we were skeptical about him. He is balling.
He is.
CeeDee Lamb is elite wide receiver. He is. Debo is. Yep. So is CeeDee Lamb.
2nd team All-Pro.
Second team All-Pro. Real quick. The running backs. I would take the Cowboys running backs. Christian McCaffrey is probably the best back. We would say that. But if we look at this year, is it Pollard this year? And then your backup is Zeke? Let's just keep it real. The offensive line. Say what you want. I watched the game last week. They look good to me. They was pulling, they was throwing people on the ground. Pancakes, all syrup everywhere. I'm just trying to keep it real. So, like, when you look at this team, a solid tight end, he's not Kittle, but he's solid. They match up with them well. And you got to stop doing it. The problem is you don't want to put pressure on Dak. It comes down to Dak. If Dak plays well, they should win this game.
Acho, do you, allow your brain to imagine. I know you don't think it's possible.
Take your heart out of it.
Can you, if Dak plays against the Niners the way that he played against the Bucs, that is a hell of an equalizer.
What about a step down?
A step down.
I don't think that's what happened again. But a step down.
Shady and I had this conversation in the weight room. We both in there getting it. Shady doing the ropes. He doing the ropes. He doing the ropes. I'm on a stair stepper. I'm on a stair stepper. I'm stepping. Shady like, hey, you think the Cowboys and Dak Prescott, hey, you think the Cowboys and Dak can do to the Niners what Dak did to the Bucs? I said, no. He said, why not? I said, Dak took advantage of mistakes the Bucs make that the Niners never make.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is a pivotal difference. Like, Dak took advantage of mistakes that the Niners don't even have it in their ability to make.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.